This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So we are starting, and I'm requesting the admin to actually note down the points from the chat mode, because a lot of interesting things are coming and one will require to have them jotted down. Okay. So uh, this lecture, how many of you are in job and want to do job? Because I am going to base my discussion depending upon the audience mix. So those who are in job or want to do job, please write as yes, because I want to focus on those areas. Okay, Shravan, Akash, Siddharth. Okay, so only 4 people have replied at job. Five people have replied that they want to be in job. Is there anybody else who want to reply whether they want to be in job and they are in job and they want to be in job? No. Okay. So now those who want to be in consulting or people call it practice, right? Yes. Those who want to be in consulting and practice, please write yes, because I want to make this as a mixed discussion depending upon. Now Akash, you are writing to yes for job as well as yes for practice. I think we are all serious here, so you should not convert this into a light affair. Akash, I don't understand what is consulting job. I don't understand. Akash, I don't understand, so I will not be, I will be ignoring you. I don't like such kind of things where we are just casual about the whole thing. Whether it is advisable to come. Okay. Answering Sudhakar sir, anyway, Akash, I think you just forget it. I think you are creating confusions, and I don't like it. I'm 70-year-old CMA, IP and ID. Whether it is advisable to come to valuation field, especially from the viewpoint of IBC restriction of 70 years. I want to know, Sudhakar sir, are you saying that valuer cannot be above the age of 70? I have not seen such a thing. Sudhakar sir, Sudhakar sir, I am asking you whether, okay, so it is allowed above 70, right? Registered valuer can be, registered valuer can be of age about 70, right? Yeah, I'm asking you. I'm asking you. I can check up if you have found out. I'm asking you. If not, we'll go to IBBI. But I know one of my student was age of 75, and he was given admission. He was given certificate. He is yet to appear for exam. Sudhakar sir. Anyway, Sudhakar sir, you contact me separately by WhatsApp. But if above 70 is allowed, and if you are physically fit, then you should get into valuation. Certainly, you should get into valuation. So now I am talking about two parts. What I'm talking about is the whole discussion should be into the of such a nature wherein we can frankly so I touch about both job valuation, jobs and careers. So first of all, career, jobs and consulting, rather jobs and consulting. Now I have talked of late quite a lot about consulting. So let me first go on with the job aspects. If I tell you that 10 years back, I was encouraging youngsters to do IFRS diploma. Okay. Today also, I recommend it, but there is a little difference. But little difference. Because of COVID, many jobs have gone. So therefore getting into diploma in IFRS because work from home would be required for many KPOs and shared services. Okay. And hence IFRS is recommended. But if you realize arising out of IFRS, the biggest concept which has come in is fair value concept. And that makes valuation a very, I might say straight away, paying profession. Last week we had one discussion and we found that one renowned speaker said that we need 2 lakhs valuers. And this is securities and financial assets alone. Okay. So when you say that securities and financial assets alone we need 2 lakhs valuers, I would say on an average they will employ 10 people at least. And here I'm keeping aside big fours or top 10 companies, top 10 consulting companies. Okay. I'm keeping aside top 10 consulting companies because big fours have hundreds of employees. Next to next week, we have also invited a partner from Deloitte. A partner from Deloitte for, and he is a valuation partner. Okay, Sanjeev. And he is going to speak on valuation big four careers. And I strongly recommend you to attend that also because he will give you a different perspective as to how the consulting industry is looking for people in valuation. Let's put it this way. When the accounting and financial reporting has to be done on fair value basis, the valuation becomes a very key aspect. Okay. So when the valuation becomes key aspect, we will have to better move with the time. Okay. And therefore, the financial reporting has forced to bring valuation in forefront. Okay. Valuation department or valuation profession in forefront. Now, obviously, I was seeing one very nice introduction by somebody. If I get it, I will show you that. How much skill sets help you? Skill sets, how much they help you? If I am able to find out quickly, I will certainly do that. Okay, let me try to do that. And that will give you an idea as to who should go into job and who should get into profession. Yeah. So I think people have to keep it on mute, please. Administration, please keep them on mute. If they're not going on mute, then make it forcibly mute. So I came across a very interesting thing, and I am tempted to show you that right now. This is my LinkedIn profile, and I have 81,000 friends, so you are welcome. And then the latest posting you can see here, there is a panel discussion on valuation, in which startup valuations, it's a free one, on 15th August evening, 7:30 to 9:30. There will be startup valuations, there will be intangible valuations, there will be index 103 and 109. There is a manufacturing company valuation, and there will be cross-border transaction valuations. Note down your date and go to my LinkedIn profile and register now itself. Then those who want to go to Canada, here is the 16th August. Career options in Canada by Atharva Divekar. This has been over This is on business leadership and strategy. So that's about all. What else I want to show? Okay. Now, yeah. Are you able to see this? Can you? What I thought would help me to get business skills and what actually does to get the business. Can you see this? Are you able to see this, please? Let me see whether you can see my screen. Yeah, you can see this. Okay. So you can see here innovative, value added, and technological products. If you can bring, then that has a huge importance. You can see here the green line. Then collaboration. Can you tie up with people? Can you get references? How much is your network? And how much is clients understanding clients problem? So you can see here skills here is, shall I say, 12%. You can see here it is 1/4 of the half. Okay. Now those who cannot have these many things, those who are not innovative, those who cannot understand clients problem, which requires good communication skills, those who cannot collaborate, those who cannot create layer. I mean, like in my case, I have 81,000 LinkedIn references, and then my network is good. So those who are not so much into the, do not have 88% of the balance, or even less than that. I would say this balance is 88%, and if you are out of these 88, you have only got 40, then better to go here. And such people I will recommend to go into job. So let me be clear. Make your mind clear. You want to go into job or not, but then accordingly you decide. All right. Having said that, now I'll close this LinkedIn thing. Okay, and go back to my other PowerPoint presentation so that you get an idea. So, how to decide? How to decide when you want to go for job or consulting? Decide based on this, job or consulting. You have to be constantly on your toes. When you are in consulting, when you are in your own business, you have to be consulting. And as basic differentiation I make between job and consulting is, jobs give you assured money and consulting depends on various factors. You can earn more, but it all depends. So your money receipts are not fixed, they are variable. You may earn huge, you may not earn huge, you may not earn anything, you may make loss. So the state of mind, if your total focus is on skill set, then I will recommend you to take up a job. Otherwise, the other facets which I have shown, you should focus on. So now, if I want to do consulting, I need to understand, for a finance guy, consulting happens in how many areas? So like I would say, do we value the business? Do we value shares and debentures? Do we value options and futures? Then, do we value for loans, banking? I am right now restricting it to the financial people, finance people. Do we value stock options? Then do we value intangibles? Now, whether you are going for a job or you are going for consulting, can your introduction letter include something out of this? I was talking to other day to the Naukri.com people. They were telling me that there is a huge demand. There is a huge demand. Correct? Sorry, today is 13th. Okay. So there is a huge demand. And when we say there is a huge demand, so when we say there is a huge demand, we need to be ready with that. Okay. If we are not ready with that, then certainly we are missing the bus. And I remember I used to teach in CA GMCS lectures, and a lot of people I used to tell them those days itself, 2010, do IFRS and you will do wonders. Today I am telling you well in advance, you are 1 year late, but learn valuation, that will safeguard your future. Now you will say, what could be Mr. Bhave's interest in saying that? Nothing. Honestly, nothing. I take joy and passion in teaching. I'm 63 by age. I groom youngsters. So what is there to gain for me? And the person who has worked in corporates for 30 years in Reliance and Mittal Group, do you think money can be any more a motivator? Honestly, no. Honestly, it does. It is a motivation. But those days are gone when I can think of money as a motivator. Okay. So having said that, then we come to the challenge of talking about Maslow's theory of need hierarchy. Are you aware of it? Maslow's theory of need hierarchy. Maslow's theory of need hierarchy. How many of you are aware of this theory? Anybody aware of this? Those who have no also, please write no. Is there anybody aware of this? Okay, Shravan is not, Vidushi is not. Okay. Understand, in our life there are goals. So since we have to take care of our roti kapda makan, our goal first is normally money. Then perhaps what happens, we look for life needs. Life needs happiness. Then we start creating brand. Then perhaps, then or before we go for luxuries. And then finally you come to, Maslow says, self-actualization. What is self-actualization? You start taking joy in doing something. And you don't count money that time. So for example, today is free session. Yesterday, I created a group called JHR in last 1 week. Job help required. Believe me, each WhatsApp group has 256 people. 5 groups are already full. Group 5 is started now. Started in half full. It shows me how many number of jobs people are losing jobs and people want the jobs. So my recommendation is focus on valuation. It will assure your career. Reason being, there are various reasons, whether it is IBC, I mean insolvency, or shell companies, or the non-performing asset of good companies. Today we are talking about bad companies, but Corona is going to create many businesses of small value nature going to be in serious trouble. Okay, and therefore the valuation for, there will be huge acquisitions. There will be huge acquisitions of small businesses. Imagine the situation. Imagine what is going to be the situation. Huge acquisitions during and post Corona. Why? Because many businesses, sorry to say, will be for sale. When many businesses are for sale, their cash flows are in trouble. You see, everything else can be managed. मराठी में एक proverb है, पैशाचं सोंग आणता येत नाही. मतलब means you can do a dramabaji of any other type, but you can't do a drama of having money when there is no. So those people do have tough times. Now imagine ABCDRI is coming. What is coming? Today only we have placed an order for robot cleaner. Why? Because now maid servants are not coming. So there are going to be a job crunch, and we need to focus on which areas the jobs are going to be more. And obviously, the jobs are going to be in certain areas, but for a finance and service industry, they are going to be in valuation. Today you read Modi ji faceless income tax. Do you know what is the impact of this? I would say the direct tax practice will go down dramatically, because today, frankly, many people were sitting as agents and they were saying, okay, I'll manage the tax for you. As far as income tax is concerned, I'm sure this will be a history now. So where will the income tax people go? We have to have the fields coming up. Now, you must be wondering that why valuation is being talked so low-key. Because today there are only 3,000 valuers in India, of which only 1,200 are in finance. SFA we call it. Securities and financial assets. Henceforth, I'll be using that word. And somebody says we might need 2 lakhs. SFA itself. Even if I may or may not agree with that, but if we need, let's say 50,000 valuers, you need to decide whether you will be those 50,000 or at least employees or associates of those 50,000, which will be approximately 5 lakhs. or 2 years later your CV will say, look, there were 5 lakh jobs, but I remained in other areas. I continued in direct taxation. I continued in routine accounting and auditing, and somebody got the bus. Having said that, going one step forward, I am doing a rough calculation which can be completely wrong. There are 7,000 companies listed and 1 lakh unlisted, which are above 250 crore net worth. Listed companies have roughly 15 subsidiaries and unlisted companies have roughly 2 subsidiaries. So with this hisab, totally 3 lakhs subsidiaries will need valuation, will need valuation as per Ind AS. Then let's talk about Companies Act, like IPO, FPO, debentures, preference shares, rights issues, rights issues. Rights and bonus, FDIs, external commercial borrowings. These are supposed to be at least 1 lakh easily. And then the number of mergers, acquisitions, I would say easily 1 lakh, small to big. Then intangibles will be, say, 1 lakh. And employee stock options. Fortunately, India does not permit non-employee stock options. 1 lakh. And if Indian valuations being economical, if they are allowed to do outsourcing, so do expect something like BPO coming in. Valuation process outsourcing. That is my dream. India becomes like a KPO. India becomes the valuation process like KPO. India becomes VPO also. India becomes VPO also. Okay. Now today, in KPO has absorbed, I don't know how many lakhs, at least 8 to 10 lakhs easily. Then, can somebody imagine Mr. Prem Kumar put on silent?
Sorry,
Mr.
I'm
Prem
sorry.
Kumar put on silent. See, we can see the name who is disturbing Mr. Prem Kumar. Please be silent. All right. I think this Prem Kumar Sri Ranjan is not listening. I mean, I request him to phone him and advise him and make him compulsorily mute. He is not listening. Mr. Prem Kumar, you are disturbing others. Okay. So we talked about around 5 to 10 lakhs valuation coming into the picture. Why? Because of mainly Companies Act 2013 and IBBI and NPAs of our country. Okay. These are going to create 3 to 5 lakh valuations. Now I am not considering here bank loans, and you might be knowing that 11 acts are going to be amended to bring them under the purview of registered valuer. Now some of you may not be eligible to do this exam, CA, CMA, CS and MBA Finance with 3 years are eligible. But for others, I will recommend to still do this course. Don't we study Excel? Don't we study financial modeling? We have studied IFRS or Indes, and those who studied went ahead. Those who studied GST went ahead. Nowadays also those who are studying forensic are going ahead. But where is the biggest boom? And I am explaining you with clear quantification. Okay. Now I will step to the next thing. How to get jobs in valuation. Okay. First, include in your CV word valuation. Now you say, I have not done any valuation, how can I add that word? No, I don't accept that. How many of you are CA articleship done here? Please say yes. Those who are done CA articleship, please say yes. 1, 2. Yes, only 2 people. 3. Only 3 people. 4. Are you all awake? Please reply, respond. Then I can focus on what can help you. Because if there are only 4, there are only 4, 5. Others, are you going to reply or no? Alright, those who are no also reply. No also reply. So that I know how many are awake out of 30 who have joined. No wala, please reply as no. Yeah, CMA articleship is same. I'm not differentiating. CA, CMA, CA वो बात करने का तरीका हो गया है कविता. I have a lot of respect for CMAs also. Yes, CS also. Agreed. Not a problem. Just say yes. So we have around 11 people replied and 2 people have said no. Doesn't matter. I don't have to worry about the remaining 20 people. If they have no time to interact, then obviously their attention is somewhere else. So I need not bother about checking their needs. But now that 10 people have replied, do we do inventory, valuation, as well as valuation for provisions of liabilities? We also do valuation of debtors pending, bad and doubtful debts. If that is the case, then you should present it straight away, saying that during the period of articleship, I did audits and supervised or participated in the valuation of inventory, debtors, loans. Okay. So first bring the word valuation in your CV. Kaisa bhi karke, if anybody has a challenge to bring that in your CV, then please contact me personally. I have already given you my number. If not, I am writing here. Those who want the guidance, please call me or at least WhatsApp me your individual questions. Rammohan Bhave, my number is 9167444674. Now let me come to the people who are going into consulting. Almost similar rule goes for consulting. I think just 1 hour back I was talking to one of my students who is from Surat originally and now come to Mumbai. I said, look, have you made your LinkedIn profile in which you are showing valuation as your skill set? Then get somebody to endorse your skill set. Treat LinkedIn as a window through which world is watching you. But if you are non-existent on LinkedIn, then I can tell. Nobody can tell. So you have to be in existence there. Your CV or your introductory letter has to be there. Then anybody who is going for a job or for that matter for consulting, he has to have, and you saw that. I talked about network through LinkedIn. Right? Network through LinkedIn and many other places, but LinkedIn is the most powerful currently. Then we talk about referrals. See, when I was young like you, I used to take referrals from my senior. I used to request some of the practicing chartered accountants or consulting. Sir, just guide me. I have this difficulty. Some people guide, some people say I have no time. Like Mr. Date, some of you might be knowing, he is a famous author on indirect taxes. Taxman's author on GST and whatnot, service tax. He took me to NIMA, Nasik Industries Manufacturers Association, and forced me to speak. When he forced me to speak, I was like surprised. I said, I don't know speaking and how is he referring my name to speak? He said, just speak whatever comes to your mind. So are we doing referrals? So for example, tomorrow let's say I'm going to a particular client. I know some of my students requested me, sir, I am very young, I am of course not your competitor. Can you take me along with you to your client? And maybe I will do some small project jobs along with you, don't pay me anything. But my network gets created. Okay. My referrals get created. Then, so the creation of referrals has to be there. Then next is, are we coming up with innovative ideas? For example, when somebody from, let's say, Goregaon does the search on Google, how will he search? He will say, where are the startups in India? Startups in Mumbai. Startups in Mumbai. The startups in Mumbai will need my valuation skills because they want to make their startup successful. And then he will come across Powai and Gansoli. Gansoli is in Navi Mumbai. So once you do that, you can very well have a visit to those places by taking one linkage. Similarly, seeds. Seeds, there are so many IT companies, they need valuations. Because IT companies issue ESOPs. That is how you can get the idea that I need to focus on startup. Then, how do you create people's awareness? By writing articles. Articles writing forces you to acquire the knowledge. So instead of reading something which is of a general knowledge, why don't we write an article on, let's say, startup valuations? Then what will happen? There the situation is, when I write those articles, I am forced to make a good article by doing browsing on internet. Okay. Now, having said that, what happens next? Next, what happens is, some client calls me. I'll give you an example. One company people had called me for the valuation of a company which was in cable manufacturing. This is a 2-year-old story. Cable manufacturing. Now, I am not an engineer, but I decided how to talk to them about cable technology. So I remember that we have copper cables, we have fiber cables, we have telecom related cables, we have Ethernet cables, we have TV के लिए cable connection wires, we have electricity wires, cables. And then I studied the balance sheet of one listed company, which is Polycab. And I saw in their notes to accounts what principles of valuation they have used. Whereas I am going to go to the company which was unlisted and needed a valuation. So when I went there and I started talking from their perspective, what is the specialty of cable business, how the cable business of Polycabs is doing, what valuation principles they use. They are very curious to know more about it. And honestly, I need moderately, but there is something called as a deductive logic. Deductive logic. And based on that, you can present a solid case. Solid case showing off your familiarity, if not knowledge, showing your familiarity. Showing your familiarity. May not be knowledge, but familiarity certainly. So are you aware what is deductive logic? Deductive logic. Are you aware of what is deductive logic? No. Somebody else is no. All right. Now this is where the MBA teaches you what is deductive logic, and those who don't know what is deductive logic. Anybody here who knows what is deductive logic? No. Okay. I'll tell you something which will look to you very funny. Okay. I am writing here Mohan Bhave at hotmail.com, and I am writing here Priyanka Mundra 1999 at gmail.com. Now my deductive logic tells me that Mr. Mohan Bhave is old or senior by age. Though I don't know both the names, senior by age. Why? Because Hotmail was used by past people. Then Priyanka must have born in 1999 and is just 21 years old and using Gmail. So young. So if you read Sherlock Holmes stories, such kind of silly logics used to make deductive. I used to tell my people that you observe a full-time MBA from a premium institute, how he walks in to visit any place, and how a CA who had very tough CA, how he walks in. How many of you, when they open the door, they first try, you don't know whether the door open or inside or outside. So first try to open the door outside, that is away from you. How many do that? And on the face of it is not clear whether it is open inside or outside. How many of you push it first outside? Can you tell me? Can you tell me how many of you do that? Say yes or no. Because the others are first opening it towards them. Inside. Yeah. Inside or outside? Please reply. Yes, outside. Okay. Others, please reply. Inside. Okay. Inside. Inside. Outside. Okay. 2 people outside, 4 inside. Yes, please reply. There's some logic behind this. Why I'm telling you outside. Okay. So this study was done. This study was done for many MBAs and CAs and CMAs. Okay. So generally MBAs open it outside and CA and CMAs open inside. Outside means aggressive, not caring whether it will hit some object from other side. Whereas inside means cautious. We don't want to trouble others. Cautious. Okay. Then very conservative. Careful. So this was a study. That is a deductive logic. And then there are some people, they open outside, but they open it slowly out. So that could be a third category of observation. Now you must be wondering why I'm sharing this with you. But when you want to acquire the skills of doing a consultancy outside, you must start going and opening those doors. Don't say, okay, how can I keep my, and because of our professional commitment, CA and CMA, and the rule of ethics and all institute has given, We are very cautious in advertising ourselves. We have to study those rules and still advertise ourselves. Because if you can't speak, nothing gets sold. Fortunately, in an area like valuation, you are not going to have much competition. Though, of course, there will be big fours coming into this business also. So it's not that you are going to be competition less. But the competition will be first with yourself. First with yourself. So first of all, what you do is compete with yourself first. How? So just find out how many articles I wrote, how many clients I made, how many referrals I created, how many jobs I applied, how much questions were asked to me on valuation because of my CV, and the number of jobs coming on valuation, are they increasing or not currently? You will find a marked trend. In fact, I was talking to some of the HR managers. Some of you might be on my JHR 3 or 4 or 5 group. You will realize that there are some HR consultants, and I keep on talking to them. So they tell me that today valuation is the in game. Now, as a career, when you want to do it, what all you will do it as a career, whether as a job or as a consultant. First, do we know valuation? If not, learn it. Can everything be learned by being from books? No. Then what? Websites. Google is your biggest friend. So how many of you have read? How many of you have read about any valuation in India of any acquisition which has been published? How many of you read? And tell me which one you have read in last 1 month, 2 months. In last 1 month, 2 months, how much and who has read about any valuation in the last 1 or 2 months? Can you please reply? Somebody will please reply. Yes, I have read how Facebook has invested into Reliance Industries and got the valuation done. Or how the startup like Byju's is getting valued. So when I see the ad of Byju's, I wonder how much valuation they must be doing. Because Shah Rukh Khan is advertising for them, and Shah Rukh Khan doesn't come in cheap. Okay, you attended geo valuation, very good. Then I just read White Hat got acquired by Byju's, very good, Shravan. So far, 2 people have replied. Sumit attending a webinar, that is also a good way. Keep on attending the webinars. That itself can make you strong. Source can be mainly Google. Priyanka, source can be mainly Google. And on that YouTube channels you go to the YouTube channel Rammohan Bhave. You go to the YouTube channel, I'm not comparable, I'm too small. Ashwatha Damodaran. You go to the search on YouTube saying valuation. Are you with me, Priyanka? Are you understanding what I'm saying? Yeah, Ajay, and now we have every week webinar. So are we grasping those concepts or not? That's where it makes sense. So books have become outdated as such. I mean, not exactly outdated, but when you want to know something latest and something live history, then which balance sheet, notes to accounts I have read to know valuation or fair value principles used. How many balance sheets you read? Tell me. How many balance sheets we have read? Anybody going to say yes? Priyanka, which balance sheet you have read? Paytm balance sheet. Good. Nice. Okay, last year is okay because the current year may not be available balance sheet. All right. Then India has how many brands? Maybe foreign brand, maybe Indian brand, but when you go to a mall, how many brands could be there? Any guess? Any guess how many brands should be there, Priyanka? Do you go to malls? Not now, before COVID. Goregaon has an excellent Oberoi mall. So how many brands are there? Shall we say 1,000 at least? Do you agree with me? 1,000 plus, correct. Maybe 2,000, maybe 5,000. But minimum 1,000, everybody agrees? Okay. Now out of that 1,000 brands, I am sure those 1,000 brands are there because they are sold based on the name. Like what? Britannia biscuits, Marie biscuits, Cadbury chocolate. In fact, I remember there was a time, and even perhaps now, chocolate means what comes to our mind is Cadbury. I mean, many of the youngsters don't know Cadbury and chocolate is different. They feel that Cadbury means chocolate only. Or Xerox means photocopying machine only. Do you even know that there are photocopying machine other than Xerox company? Most of us don't know. So the name has been made synonymous with that. Yeah, Canon. Good, you remember at least. But by and large, don't we say easily, I am Xeroxing the papers? Right? So, can you make your name simultaneously? So, if I say Kavita, what is Kavita? Kavita is a valuer. When can that happen, Kavita? That will happen when you will say out of that 1,000 brands, at least every week I am reading one brand ka story in detail and finding out a research on that. And maybe I'm ready in a month's time to write an article on valuation of brands, practical case studies. So I invite, here there are 20, 30 people, I invite you to our next webinar to speak on various brand valuations or brand case studies. How many of you would like to come as a speaker or panel member on brand valuations next month? I'll give you 1 month's gap. Tell me. Those who want to say yes, please say yes. I'm noting down your names if you write your name. Hello. And don't worry, I will support you. We will do the presentation jointly. Okay, Lakshuman. Lakshuman, you also send me WhatsApp. Lakshuman, Priyanka. Okay. Anybody else? Yes. Okay. Lakshuman, Priyanka, Vidushi. Let me write down the names here. So next month we are going to have brand or intangible assets valuation. I am of course going to help Prajakta. And there's Lakshuman, Priyanka, Vidushi, Prajakta. Who else? Have I missed anybody? No, I not missed anybody. All right. So let me pull out my calendar. Okay. Brand valuations, case studies. And let me say, Ananya, are you there? Ananya, tell me when is the Sunday? Let me get a calendar. Today we are on 13th August. 13th September. Date is fixed. 15th September. Our four friends will be doing this. 13th 13th September. Date is fixed. Time 6:30 to 8:30. Ananya and Vaidehi, please note 13th September. These four people will do the presentations with my help and we'll hold a panel discussion on this. Great. I'm very happy. So you have started creating your brand. Please send me WhatsApp today night or tomorrow and start discussing with me on WhatsApp or on phone what we should do all. Okay. And four people means 2 hours means everybody will get half an hour. So prepare a nice PowerPoint presentation of 20 slides. All right. So having said this, if we are seeing 1,000 brands, we also must think of as to our brand valuation story has to go on YouTube. And if it is going on YouTube, then people know who is Prajakta and who is Vidushi and who is Lakshman and who is Priyanka. Okay. Right. So that's how the brand is built. So we are not only doing a brand valuation, but we are building our own brand also. Okay. And I'm not necessarily saying go for brand. Go for patent, go for trademark, go for software valuation, go for customer relationship. 94 types of intangible assets. And those who have attended my classes on valuation, they must be knowing this. Am I right? Do you all remember? Some of you, do you remember my teaching of 94 types? Who all remember? Anybody remembers? I taught 94 types of intangibles. Please say yes. If you have so far nobody is saying yes. Have you forgotten? PPT of intangible. Oh yes, Priyanka remembers that. I'm so happy. Anybody else remembers? Oh, I don't see anybody else has attended my lectures. Doesn't matter. कोई बात नहीं है. But you can go to my YouTube channel. And in fact, I had held one webinar on intangible assets separately, valuations. You can check that. Otherwise, you can attend on this Saturday of 15th. Anand Gowde is going to speak on intangible valuations. All right. Having said that, now we said that if the brand is to be valued, how do I become a brand valuation consultant? In order to become a brand valuation consultant, how will one go for a job? Because we'll go for a job by putting in our CV that I have done research on brand valuation and published an article or participated in a panel discussion. The moment that comes on Prajakta Funds' introductory letter to the people will know. If I want to know about intangible asset, let me go to Prajakta. So this is how one can do it. Or if you are putting it into your CV, and any of these Shravan or anybody who is going to looking for a job, the moment your CV says brand valuation panel discussion, your CV contains something unique, and the fellow is bound to contact you. Now, I'm sorry, I don't like to tell this story, but I'm tempted to share this story. Is that unique features in your CV if you are looking for a job. and unique contributions. If you are making introduction letter as a consultant, yeah, to do that. Once you do that, then find out the YouTube channels on that, which I already stated. Then let me talk about something like who is coming in touch with employees. Can you tell me who is coming in touch with employees? Who is coming in touch with employees? Tell me. Employees who all deal. Who all deal with employees? HR, correct? So one is HR. Who else? Placement consultants. Who else? Trainers. Because trainers get the assignment only from training and development department, T&D. Then actuaries. Actuaries come in touch with HR people, and therefore they come in touch with creating the data of employees. Correct? Now, when you do that, the issue is, are we having tie-ups with actuaries? Are we having tie-ups with trainers like me? Are we having placement consultancy tie-ups like Atul Mehta or anybody? Or do we have tie-ups with HR departments of the companies? If not, to do valuation as a career, you must send every day 100 LinkedIn requests, connection requests to these people also. I started getting ESOP valuation contracts after I did this. Otherwise, I was among the only CFO. Then one day I realized, oh my God, HR people also have to be closer to us in terms of relationship. So I decided to expand my span. And those who are wanting job, certainly again, for them, who is better than HR departments and consultants? All right. Then, and that gives you valuation jobs also. So we talked about brand, we talked about intangible, we talked about ESOPs, because this will give you the ESOP jobs. Now that takes me next actually. Can you tell me that where the news of mergers can be authentically studied? Authentically studied to understand valuations. Any idea? Can anybody say that? If not, I'll tell you something. I'll show you one website. I'll straight away show you one website. That's a better. Seeing is believing. And I'm opening it in your presence. Mergers here. This is an amazing website to study valuations. And the owner happens to be my friend. His name is Mr. Gandhi. He mostly sits in Pune. And the amount of, they come up with a magazine also. Okay, I'll show you. I think their magazine name is M&A Critic. Here, M&A Critic. Can you see this issue? M&A. Right? Motherson Sumi restructures in business. An academy acquires 4 companies this year. EdTech. If you read these articles, and he calls for articles from you also. Can you see here? M&A Critic. Amazing, amazing. I'm telling you. I have he and I have a tie-up on. I do IFRS opinions for his M&A. He's purely into M&A studies, and you can see here the Reliance Industries restructured Geo before the drive. Kamdhenu demerges the pens. This is an amazing magazine. I tell you, you won't believe. It's an amazing magazine. Have you all read this magazine before? And it is such a, most of the case studies are in from India. Have you read this magazine? Have you read this magazine? And at least soft copies of the past issues are free. There are, I think, 6 or 8 issues in a year. It's bi-monthly, if I'm not mistaken. And to me, he used to send free. I think now he has brought a soft copy. Okay. How many of you have read this? Say yes or no. No. So Shravan, Priyanka, whether you go to a client or whether you go to a job interview, if you can quote something from this, let's say you are going for an interview of a particular company, which is in textiles, or which is in garments, or which is in chemicals, or which is in pharmaceuticals, or which is in electronics. Just go and search this magazine, which are the valuation case studies. You look at here, useful tools, synergy valuation. Or which valuation model? Question and answer. Yeah, synergy valuation. Okay. So I strongly recommend this. This will make you very good in terms of keeping the knowledge of mergers happening in India, more in India, because you can on Google you can read foreign case studies and you may not even be able to relate to the Indian situation. And when we are fresh people, we must use mergerindia.com, right? Right? Are we clear on this? Okay. So I told you, you need skills, you need innovative ideas, you need references, and we need what all? Network. Okay, let me open it again. Have I covered it or not? Have I covered everything? Here it was, right? Yeah. Do I have references? How do I get references? Come to me, I'll give you references. How do you get network? Go to LinkedIn. How do you understand client's problem? I will give you one case study. Okay. A Limited, A Private Limited invests 45 lakhs in equity shares of B Private Limited. B supplies raw material to A. After this share purchase, A started getting 5% cost reduction in or discount. Let's say discount in material purchase. This was planned. How this will be affecting valuation of next year. Yes, it's in a projection plan. How will it affect? So as a valuer, how would you look at it? The client's problem statement. Client comes to you, he says, I want to do a DCF valuation, and this is one thing which I am planning as my strategy. If I invest in the equity shares of B, they are my raw material supplier, they will give me some discount, and that discount value will be around 2 lakhs per annum, which frankly is not great. On 45 lakhs, 2 lakhs means 5%. Return will be around 5%. Because the material purchase is some 1 crore and 5% discount is 5% discount should be 5 lakhs. Sorry. Material purchase is crore. But if material purchased is say 20 lakhs or 40 lakhs. Okay, 40 lakhs material purchase can have a 5% discount of 2 lakhs. Please answer me, what is its impact on valuation? That is called understanding client's problem. So I advised two things here. One was, why they see the other customer gets the same discount. You are right, Priyanka. Other customers are not getting this discount. So I said, do you have any such formal arrangement that if you become a shareholder of this company, you can get certain discount? And then I realized that actually their material cost should be treated as higher and it should be treated as a dividend income on equity shares. Are you with me? So am I giving a valuation angle to this? Okay. So discount is really not material cost reduction, but in substance it is dividend on equity shares. Yeah. So now, if this is something which, when you go to a discussion with client, he tells you some such kind of things, and he asks you, how do I treat this transaction when you do the valuation? Can you answer those things? Then only you can really present yourself properly. Okay. So that is understanding client problems. And innovative value add tech products So for example, since Priyanka is speaking, I am asking, okay, how many softwares are available for valuation? Are we familiar? Are we familiar? Are we familiar with Kavita? What is the tax benefit? I have not understood, but we will talk that separately. So, how many of you would like to work on a project? Work on a project of writing article on software in valuation, for valuation or in valuation. Let's write the article jointly and publish it. Which softwares are available, who is using it, how it can be better used, or which method of valuation it will be useful. So if you are going into a valuation career, this will also build your brand. In fact, of late I am writing a book on valuation, which is quite big, and it is a co-authored book by 60 people. It is a co-authored book by 60 people. And we are going to call it a giant book. Everybody is contributing just 10 pages. If you want to write on this topic, do write. Anybody would like to write? The period available is 2 weeks. Not even 2 weeks, 1 week. Anybody would like to write this article of 20 pages and become co-author of the book. Anybody? No? Okay. You can come back to me. Right. Now I move to, since we are 1.5 hour over, I move to the question and answers. Please ask your questions. Please ask your questions. If you ask me where to apply for a job in valuation, go to RSM, go to Suresh Torana, go to Big Fours, go to RBSA, go to Duff and Phelps. Will they give you a job? Yes. If you do the thing which I am telling you, they will give you a job because they know that you have potential of valuation. Right? So please ask your questions. Did you find the session useful and value adding? Do before and large values sublet the assignment of valuation? Certainly they do. Certainly they do. No doubt about it. Next question is, did you find it enjoyable and engrossing? Did you find it? How about fees in valuation? The smaller one is 35,000 to 1 lakh. Bigger ones are 5 lakhs. So depending upon the size of the option, like we did Ola Cabs valuation, it gave us around 15-20 lakhs. Did you find the session enjoyable and engrossing? Great. Which one point you will remember most out of today's session. Most and for longer period. Tell me one point which you will remember for the longer period. After you answer this, we will conclude it. Valuation is future. Okay, good. Yes, please answer. So after this answer, YouTube. Okay. Mergersindia.com. Very good. LinkedIn working. LinkedIn. Okay. Good. So I'm requesting my friend to conclude, please. Please tell me about feedback. Please explain it to all. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. Hi. Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, this is the feedback form. Please, I would want to fill it. We'll be really looking forward for your valuable feedback.
And one thing you should tell is, especially in the feedback form, also write which are the subsequent session you would like us to hold. Okay. The topics for which you would like the sessions to be held. All right, so good. Thank you, everybody. All the best. And please fill up the form and then only go. Thanks to all.